Welcome to the end, the absolute craziest time in human history. And honestly, I'm stoked to be alive right now. Before we get to why, allow me to be a doomer for just a moment and paint the picture. America is in a cold civil war. We're on the edge of World War III with Russia, China, and the entire Islamic world. Meanwhile, AI and fusion power and robotics are advancing at an earth-shattering pace. They're poised to change the world more in our lifetimes than every single human invention combined. I don't think people fully understand the ramifications of all of this. And if that's not enough, Western society is collapsing around us. Dating and marriage broke somewhere in the last decades. Community has been devastated. Shared purpose and social cohesion are out the window. The economy is teetering on the brink of disaster. Real wages have plummeted. And we're running this insane social experiment of rejecting all traditions and values of the past while singing of our genius while society tears itself apart. In the midst of this dumpster fire, our kids in Gen A are staring at screens for 7 hours a day, getting educations that will soon be irrelevant. Average people are poisoning their bodies and minds with fake foods and fake news. Politicians argue over trivial bullshit, while the rest of us just marvel at the absurdity of it all while driving to work. The world has changed more in the last 5 years than it did in most of your ancestors' lifetimes, and it's only going to get faster and faster and faster. Terence McKenna, a philosopher and psychonaut, came up with a term for this: novelty theory. He believed the whole world and universe is accelerating towards greater and greater complexity. Mankind, for instance, started with sticks and stones, then we found fire, and now we have airplanes. We have been speeding up or heating up on an exponential arc, and we're really close to the boiling point. I believe we are approaching the moment in history, the moment all of our religions and artists have intuited since the dawn of civilization, the moment that all human evolution and breakthroughs have been marching towards. Some call it the singularity, others call it the end of the world. Either way, I'm stoked to be alive right now. Because let me tell you, I was getting bored out of my mind, twiddling my thumbs and plowing fields and battlefields for the last 100 lifetimes. Let's get something new. Let's get something interesting. Also, I was never really cut out for this modern life thing. We live in the ruins of an actual culture. Everything is more absurd and atomized than ever before. And yeah, people are still coasting along as if nothing's really happening, going to college or working their job. But we gotta pull our head out of the sand at some point, because the world needs leaders right now. Men and women who can stand upright amongst the ruins. Part 2. The Age of Prophecy. According to the Holy Science by Sri Yukteswar, history moves in cycles. These great cycles correspond to the precession of the equinox, which the ancients called the Great Year. Within this 24,000-year cycle, we are currently at the transition point from the Iron Age, or the Kali Yuga, to the Bronze Age, or the Dwapara Yuga, otherwise known as a transition to the Age of Aquarius. I think we need to look at the fact that almost all cultural myths and religions speak of the end times and the coming change. And I mean all of them, from the Hopi prophecies to the Buddhists. Is that just a coincidence? I think not. The Old Norse believe in Ragnarok, the final war of the gods and men that would come at the end of time. The Christians believe in the second coming of Christ and the purging of the earth. Hindus believe their Messiah, or the avatar Kalki, will return at the end of the Dark Age on a horse with a flaming sword to purge all evil and corruption. The Muslims believe their Mahdi will come and similarly cleanse the world. The Buddhists have their messianic conceptions of Maitreya, and the Jews are famous for their messianic prophecies. 3 things strike me about this universal myth. Number 1, we are in the Dark Age, and we are nearing the end. You don't have to take my word for it, or Sri Yukteswar's. Just look around. Read the signs of the times. The second theme is the emphasis on the Messiah, or the great leaders to come. In every turning of the age, messianic figures tend to appear. The last time messianic figures walked the earth was over 2,400 years ago, right at the beginning of the Kali Yuga, as Sri Yukteswar marks it. Buddha, Lao Tzu, Confucius, Zoroaster, Pythagoras, Socrates, Plato, all were alive within 100 years of each other. I don't think people understand how ludicrous that is. The men who literally set the course for an entire age were alive at the same time. The third striking theme from the universal myth is that the great harmony arises out of the great disaster. If you read any of the apocalyptic myths, the Hopi Native American prophecy, for instance, you'll notice the theme that it's when people forget God and live in disharmony with the earth that times of trouble will come. This is the great tribulation from the Bible. And out of the fires of adversity, salvation appears, the second coming of Christ, or the fifth world of the Hopi. This is the universal law of polarity. Everything that exists must exist in relationship to its equal opposite. Whatever seems absolutely dark has its counterpart of absolute light. And this is why the prophesied messianic age of harmony and prosperity could only emerge out of its opposite. It's only when dystopic nightmares approach that humanity has the potential for utopian dreams. This is why I'm freaking stoked. Because this polarity isn't just a spiritual law, it's manifested even in our technologies. As dystopic as AI in the machine world may appear in science fiction, it could create something pretty awesome as well. Technologies like the internet, blockchain, and AI could be used to unite humanity into smaller tribes and allow them to create governments that are transparent, self-regulating, and held accountable. These decentralized, flourishing systems represent one note, one absolute, and the other is descending into a global slave state of totalitarian rule. And we exist in the balance. This is the war of the heavens, or the spiritual war that is manifesting onto earth. Into all this confusion walks the network state. The network state is a new kind of community built on shared values, technology, and transparency. It starts online and eventually manifests into the real world, driven by blockchain, AI, and the internet. I know some of you might think that this network state is starting to sound like some tech lord's dream or is part of some transhumanist AI agenda. It's not. Hear me out. With the internet and global travel, geography and borders no longer limit us. I've met a lot of my best friends on the internet. We can connect across the world and unite around shared values. Add in blockchain and AI to the mix and you get something truly revolutionary. Imagine if you could debug a small government the same way you debug a program, identifying problems, reverting policies that fail, and constantly improving. This is why AI plus blockchain is humanity's first shot at justice and leadership. With this idea, institutions can become better over time instead of more corrupt. The foundation for the network state is actually quite simple. Number one, build a community online around shared values, which we're doing right now. Number two, collaborate on projects and build relationships. Number three, crowdfund an archipelago of land. The idea is the network state actively builds its own civilizational project and slowly gains recognition as a state. The goal is to create a small, decentralized tribe that operates very similar to a lean startup. It has a constitution and it's constantly adapting towards its ideal, which in my mind is total human flourishing, or Aristotle's eudaimonia. All right, so we're dreaming pretty big there, and we're about to bring it back down to earth. But to all the naysayers who say this is impossible, I think you're wrong. Strife plus necessity can create incredible things. Tribe is the most natural and resilient system humans have ever organized within, especially in times of peril. And tribe is exactly what people want and need most right now. Even my aunts and uncles are talking about building a village of their friends. To add to that, some of the most brilliant minds and leaders in the world are working on the network state. And yeah, I agree with you. The tech possibilities are cool, but they're still far out there in the future, especially implementing them. But I just see the network state as a great pathway to fulfilling basic human needs. We must rebuild tight-knit communities that have shared social bonds, culture, and responsibility. Modernity has annihilated this. Tribe has died, but its second coming will shine brighter than the sun. This is the cause I'm willing to champion. Honestly, guys, I'd love to build one of these somehow in some way, or at the least a decentralized tribe. It's not even a want anymore. It's a need for so many people. But this network state thing is beyond grandiose. We're talking about founding a state here. And it really comes down to building your tribe and me building my tribe, building our networks and inner circles, and maybe one day uniting them. So here's what you can do right now. Number one, become your most valuable and badass version. That's what a lot of this channel is dedicated to, my second channel, and my book. Ultimately, it's going to take wolf packs of highly competent people to start any of this. Number two, start building your community, your inner circle and outer circle in every way possible. I do this both online and in person. My online sphere is my larger network that helps me filter people into my inner circle. I have a whole course on building social capital that I highly recommend. It's inside of the Men's Academy, and that leads us to step number 3, which is join me. You can join by subscribing to this channel, and also you can join our men's community through the link in the description below. Now, it is a paid community, but cultivating high quality connection is the goal, not having a bunch of faceless internet friends. I would start a free Discord, but honestly guys, I'm worked to the max right now trying to produce all of this content and make ends meet. So if you wanted to take that upon yourself, be my guest. But right now, the Men's Academy is the way to stay most connected to this mission. Otherwise, keep building your tribe, my friends. Keep following along with this content. Thanks so much for being here. My name is Christian. This is Wisdom Warriors. And you can click here for a recent video about retribalizing America and civilizational projects. I think you might enjoy that one too. Peace.